We'll begin. Why is this like this? Oh, I see. Hello. I'm seeing the person that's on live stream. Hi, welcome. So the reason this little contraption is here is we're starting to live stream, and we're in our first just a little over a week of live streaming. So if you have any technical difficulties, we won't know it unless you tell us, okay? So please let us know. Okay, so the structure of the class is we'll begin with a 15-minute meditation, and then we'll have a talk on Buddhist principles, another 15-minute meditation, and a prayer. There's a prayer in there, and then a little time for discussion and etc. So, okay, so, and I have my mask off because it's a little strange for live streaming, but this is about 10 or 12 feet, so you should be pretty good. Okay, we're just changing our protocol as we go along.
Are you vaccinated?
1 week.
Good.
1 week, yeah.
I'm vaccinated. So
I know, and you have to wait a little longer because you're a little younger. Yeah.
Soon.
Soon enough. Yeah, it'll come. Okay, oops. Guess I need a microphone. So, can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Okay, so we'll begin just by watching our breath. This is a good way to always begin a meditation. And focus not just on your breath in any way, but focus on the physical sensation as it comes in and out of your body at the tip of your nose. So focus right on that for a few minutes. With each breath, let your body relax and let your mind let go, breath by breath. Now let your lungs relax. And now on your out breath, picture you breathing out anything that troubles you, any worry, any frustration, any anger or disharmony with others or with yourself. Breathe any of those negative thoughts out. You don't need them, they aren't you. Breathe them out on a cloud of smoke, which goes far away into the universe and disappears. Do this on every out breath. And you are using your breath like a broom to sweep out of your mind and heart anything that you don't want there, breath by breath. Just relax and let go. Now on your in-breath, picture that you're breathing in beautiful, nourishing white light. Fills your whole being and especially your heart. Feeling and filling your heart with spiritual energy. And please do this on every in-breath. So for the next 3 minutes, just relax and let go even more. And let this light fill and heal your heart with every in-breath. So I'll be teaching from the book 8 Steps to Happiness. Okay. It's a wonderful book. And it's really a book on opening your heart, increasing your love, letting your world get warmer and warmer. Was your sound okay? You on live stream there? I'm getting a low battery. Excuse me, just 1 moment. I'm getting a low battery signal.
Oh, it just came unplugged.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Yeah, because that should take care of it.
Oh, you know what? It's not going. Hold on. Jesus. It's not going in all the way because of the case.
Yeah, that should do it.
No, it's not. Let's see. Let me see real quick.
Few technical difficulties here.
Let me just see something here. Let's close that. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Don't worry. There it is charging now. Okay, so now we just need to go back to where we were, which is there. There you go.
There we go. Okay.
Actually,
The plug came out.
if we do something here real quick.
Oh,
That should be okay.
yeah, then there'll be less pressure on it.
How's that working?
Good?
Is that better?
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Was your sound okay? Was your sound okay? Oh, darn, I can't hear. Wave your hand if it was. Okay, good. We get a lapel mic this week, so the sound should be even better as we go along. So I can't figure out how to get you sounding, but this is our first week, and I'm not very technical. So I said this is our first week, and I'm not very technical. Oh, there you are. Okay, great.
Oh, I didn't realize I was muted.
Oh, okay.
I kept asking if you could hear me.
I can see your lips moving. I thought I should be doing something, and I don't know what it is. Do you ever have that feeling? I should be doing something, and I don't know what it is. Quite often, I know. Okay, so this is the book, 8 Steps to Happiness. This is written, an enlightened being, Geshe Kadampa, wrote 8 very pithy verses. In the olden days, they liked to study pithy things. And this is a commentary to it. So it's a book on opening and expanding your heart. Oh, it's 8 Steps to Happiness. You can order it at our publishing company, TARPA, THARPA.com. Okay, so the basic function of Dharma or Buddhist teachings is to act as a mirror so that we understand, so we see what we're doing, okay? We see what we're doing and we're seeing, is what I'm doing, is it gonna create happiness for me, or is it gonna create suffering in the future? You know, so once we understand what it is that creates happiness and what creates suffering, then we know what to do, okay? And we learned some of this from our parents, some of us from our society, but basically we don't have a very happy society. It's not a society that's just peaceful, radiant with happiness, tolerant and kind to each other. I mean, we're a little bit of a troubled society. And really the whole world at this point is troubled. In Buddhism, that says we're in degenerate times, but for spiritual practitioners, it's increasing times. So that's really extremely good. Okay, so Dharma or Buddhist teachings will serve as a mirror. So a little story is, once there was a very evil man that had killed thousands of people, and he met a bodhisattva called King Chandra, who taught him Dharma, and he says, oh, now that I've looked in the mirror of Dharma, I see what I've been doing. And he changed his ways. And you also might remember the story of Siddhartha, which is a favorite story of mine. Siddhartha was kind of an evil person, tried to poison Buddha, but later became ordained and became liberated in that lifetime. So you just think, well, if Siddhartha that tried to poison Buddha and had very little virtue could start to study Dharma and become enlightened, I can too. They say it's harder for an animal to come up to the human realm than it is for human beings. It's harder for an animal to become a human than it is for a human to become enlightened. So you think, oh, you know, so we have mercy on the animals, and we always say prayers for them when they pass. We are raised, unfortunately, we're all college educated. You know, we've been raised and had our minds twisted and fed by all the schooling that we've done. In some ways it's helped, and in some ways it hasn't. One way it hasn't helped is it's taught us that being intellectual is really cool, okay? Really the way to go. And actually it's one tool, but we don't want to stay, particularly with Buddhism, we don't want to stay in our head. We want to bring it down to our heart. because that's the only way that we can really change, is if we take the teachings, first we understand them intellectually, okay, that's like the map, but then we bring them down into our heart so that we feel them and we practice them. That's the only value. That's the only value. A sick person cannot be cured of his illness just by reading the instructions on a bottle of medicine. This is what we try to do a lot, just being intellectual. But he can be cured by actually taking the medicine. So it's only by, if you choose, learning some of these ideas, trying them out, seeing if they work, because they really do work. Certainly Buddha gave Dharma instructions as supreme medicine to cure the inner disease of our delusions. But we cannot cure this disease just by reading or studying Dharma books. We can only solve our daily problems by taking Dharma into our heart and practicing it sincerely. So that's what we want to do, is be a sincere practitioner, a very sincere practitioner. The more sincere we are, and we don't, when we meditate or when we try it, when we're working on any spiritual practice, we want to hit the golden mean. We don't want to stress too hard, but we want to be sincere. We've got one life right now. We've met Buddhism, and so we want our next lives to be better and better and better and better. And we can do that, but we just have to be sincere and pay attention and practice, okay? Nothing happens without effort. So we want to make, it's sort of putting first things first. We don't want to put the cart before the horse, intellectual things, career, money, houses, everything we occupy our mind with. We want to put spirituality first, and then everything else becomes luminous and better. We love better, everything works better. So we don't want to remain intellectual forever. We practice on each other, okay? We're human beings, and we're interactive. We're like a bee in a beehive. We don't realize it. We don't realize that we're so profound political adversaries, countries we don't like, people we don't like in our office. We're all profoundly connected. And the more we can just relax and be kindly to each other, which doesn't mean you don't draw boundaries, okay? Always, boundaries are good. Saying no is good when appropriate, but growing our heart is really something that is very, very important to do. So we practice on each other, which is kind of nice. So the highest state of all is full enlightenment. That's our evolutionary goal, okay? Our goal, and that we're going to reach either sooner or later, depends on the effort we put in, is enlightenment. Buddha says everybody becomes enlightened. The highest state of all is full enlightenment, and the main road leading to enlightenment is the realizations of love, compassion, bodhicitta, and the practice of the 6 perfections. The 6 perfections are Buddha Dharma, or the teachings of Buddha condensed into 6 basic areas. Giving of many kinds, particularly giving love, giving moral discipline, being decent, giving moral discipline, patience, being able to accept what life gives you, okay? We can either accept what life gives us or we can rail against it. But we may as well accept it, because then that makes us more flexible, more intelligent to be able to deal with it. As long as we're spending our energy fighting, we can't make good solutions. But when we can just say, this is the way it is, I've done everything I can, and this is the way it is, then you can be intelligent. We can only develop these wonderful qualities, independence upon other living beings. How can we learn to love with no one to love? How can we practice giving with no one to give to, or patience with no one to irritate us? Whenever we see another living being, we can increase our spiritual qualities, such as love and compassion, and in this way become closer to enlightenment and the fulfillment of our own deepest wishes. And we become more and more able to help the world, okay? An enlightened being is the most powerful being in the world, okay? It's above everything. And so that's where we're headed, but we have to practice. So we practice on each other, okay, in interaction, because we're human beings, we're communal critters. Some things we do alone, but mostly we learn in accordance, in interrelation with others. And we are part of a very large organization that has many beautiful teachers, many beautiful teachers. We're 3 hours from our national center, which is beautiful Golden Temple. We every year, thousands, 5,000 people come from all over the world to the International Center in England and study, join together and study for 2 weeks. So really, you know, if we realize that living beings and enlightened beings are equally important, because enlightened beings show us the way, they show us the path, and they bless our minds. Okay, we could never do it without them. But living beings are equally important too, because we need somebody to practice on. So how can we love with no one to love? Okay, we learn love in interaction with each other. So it's quite nice that Buddhas and enlightened and living beings are equally important, because we need both of them to get to enlightenment. I know, thinking of the quality of patience, which is what we need to learn. There's a wonderful story of Atisha's cook. Classic story. It's a classic story. Oh, it's a wonderful story. Atisha was a great master. He was an enlightened being. Okay, he was the greatest teacher of his time, and he was invited to Tibet at the cost of one of the king's lives. In order to get him there, he ended up having to sacrifice his life to a border king. So one of the kings sacrificed his life to bring Atisha to Tibet to revitalize Buddhism in Tibet. And Atisha came bringing his cook, okay? His cook is infamous, okay? Because his cook was so disrespectful and so annoying, and he wasn't even a very good cook, okay? But he'd be, you know, Atisha would be expounding the Dharma, giving profound teachings, and his cook would be there, he was just, and whispering to the person next to him, don't listen to him, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It was just like outrageous. You know, after a while, the Tibetans just said, why do you keep this guy? There's so many Tibetans that could serve you in a respectful and good manner, would be glad to. And Atisha says, no, I need him. Without him, there's nobody else I could practice patience with. So I find what's really helpful, patience is one of the ways that we, well, it's not only a quality of being able to accept life, but it also purifies us, which I didn't know for a long time, but it's one of the ways we purify. So when you're starting to get annoyed with someone, how many times today will that happen? Probably a few, okay? So when you're starting to get annoyed with someone or traffic or whatever, just think to yourself, patience, okay? And just reminding yourself that that's a quality of being able to accept life. Somehow just saying the word patience, you kind of go, okay, I can accept life. I'm strong enough to accept life. So it's a nice little thing to remember. We in fact, we could regard as very precious all the people who really make life hard for us, okay? Because the people that make life hard for us, like Atisha's cook, they're very precious to us because they make us work, okay? The people that are nice to us and that always, we get along with easily, no problem, this is great. We all need a bunch of those people in our lives to nourish ourselves. But the people that are hard for us really make us work. So we should regard them as very, very precious, because they're really going to teach us a whole lot. Otherwise, we'd be like a spoiled child who got everything that they want. You probably know, you've probably seen spoiled children that usually see them in the grocery store having tantrums because they can't get what they want, okay? So you go, oh boy, they really know how to manipulate their mother, embarrass her to death in public, and you'll get what you want. So we want to really be aware. We want to be aware and appreciate everything that comes our way, because we will learn our most when things are the hardest, okay? Because then you go up, you go down. When things are the hardest, that's when you really learn. So when somebody's really annoying to you or really adversarial to you, when somebody really is working against you, in your job or whatever, or in your life, consider that as a precious opportunity to learn. So it's, Buddhism teaches us how to do that. dealing with adversity, and part of our adversity will be dealing with adverse people. So we just want to really use them to work. So we have to, if we're smart, we realize that our real wealth is not the amount of money that we have, because it's going to disappear. A friend of mine lost 30,000 in one day on the stock market. You know, he'd saved a long time to get that 30,000, and boom, it just went away, just like magic, you know. So our real inner wealth is what we develop internally, our spiritual realizations. That's our inner wealth, which is quite nice. Our spiritual realizations are inner wealth, where they help us in all situations. They help us in all situations. The easy situations, we use those to expand our love and our compassion. The hard ones teach us acceptance and inner strength, okay? Our spiritual realizations are our inner wealth, for they help us in all situations. They'll help us when we die, okay? When we die, there's nothing that's going to be as strong for us. Our friends can't help us. We're going to fade out. The only thing that'll really matter will be what we've got in our heart. And that's the only thing we're taking with us. We aren't taking our partners or our children or our wealth or our situation or our reputation. We aren't taking anything but what's in our heart. So we want to really develop, they say in Buddhism, they say that your root mind that goes life to life is situated at your heart. Okay, that's its little house, so to speak, the heart chakra. So realize, you know, what is it I'm taking with me? You know, I don't want to ignore that. Our spiritual realizations are inner wealth, for they help us in all situations, and they're the only possessions we can take with us when we die. Once we learn to value the inner wealth of patience, being able to accept life, giving all kinds of things, giving in many, many avenues, love and compassion. When we learn to value the inner wealth of compassion, giving, love, and once we learn to value the inner wealth of patience, giving, love, and compassion above external conditions, okay, we don't define ourselves by external conditions. They're going to change. We're going to lose everything. We'll come to regard each and every sentient being as supremely precious, no matter how they treat us. So this will make it easy for us to cherish them. So just knowing what really matters, knowing what our real wealth is, because we live in a materialistic scientific society, we tend to think our wealth is what we have in the bank, or, you know, the equity we've got in our house, or the fact that we've got a job that pays us and we can save some. We tend to think our wealth in terms of money or possessions. We're going to go, they'll all go. They'll all go. So if we think of our wealth as really something internal, what we know, then we're right on the mark. We're right on the mark, because that's what we'll take with us. That's the only thing we'll take with us. So spiritual realizations are our only wealth, our only wealth. So as we kind of monitor and organize our energy, one thing we want to do is organize our energy so that we leave really ideally ample time for spiritual development. Anything we do daily is good, whether it's just 10 minutes in the morning before we hurtle out the door. But the more the better, okay? The more we practice and learn. It's good to keep learning Buddha Dharma, the teachings of Buddha, because it's a very intelligent, profound, elegant path. It's elegant. It teaches us everything, what we need to know, what we need to avoid, how to purify. Lots of people don't want to hear about karma because they think they're stuck with anything bad they've ever done. We all know that we've done bad stuff at some point. If not in this life, if we've been perfect this life, and in another life, we for sure have done for sure we have done many bad things. Countless past lives, you know we've done countless bad things. So one thing that's wonderful about the Buddhist concept of karma is you can purify it. You can purify it before it ripens. Once it starts to ripen, even a Buddha can't change that, okay? Once something starts to ripen, you're stuck with it because it's in that process of ripening. The best you can do is keep a good mind and let it dispel. Karma is purified two ways. It's purified by negative things happening. It's also purified if you engage in purification practices beforehand. Remembering patience. You know, when you want to get annoyed, that's one way we purify. We can also do the practice of Vajrasattva, the Buddha of purification. He's a Buddha that Buddhists have their specific jobs as well as their specific kind of personalities. Okay, Vajrasattva emanated to help us purify our negative karma. That's his whole reason for being. And I'll be giving the empowerment of Buddha Vajrasattva on May 1st. So if you want to just intensify your connection with that Buddha, that's very, very good. Having an empowerment doesn't make you Buddhist, okay? But it does give you a nice connection with that particular Buddha. If you want to make friends with the Buddha, come to as many empowerments as you possibly can, because they will change your life. A classic saying in Buddhism is change your mind, change your world. Empowerments are part of doing that. They're like the high frequency, beautiful things. They're like jewels. So, and the definition of empowerment is special blessings that heal our mental continuum and awaken our spiritual nature. An empowerment is special blessings that heal our mental continuum and awaken our Buddha nature, or in more generally, our spiritual nature. So they're very extremely worth doing. And what's nice is, we're actually quite lucky, because right now so many things are live streamed. We can get live stream teachings from the wonderful teacher in New York, Kadampa, or we can go to the International Spring Festival, which is coming up, or the International Summer Festival, where usually, thousands of people would come from all over the world together to study to the International Center. So we can learn an awful lot in this time. So it's, in a way, it's nice to do things in person. But what I've noticed, and our empowerment will be live streamed so that we don't get people packed too close together. But I've noticed I've taken several empowerments via live stream since all this started, and it's just as strong as in person. It blew my mind, because I've spent a lot of energy and money and time and effort going to different things. But here in my own living room, live stream, it was just as powerful. And I think it's really because it's the Buddhas that give the empowerment. So the Buddhas, when they know a certain thing is happening and they feel you concentrating, they zero in and they give you the empowerment, which is quite delightful. It makes it magical, because it means we can access so many things. Like when they live streamed the summer festival, which is usually 3,000 to 5,000 people, they had the best attendance they've ever had, because people from Asia, just the plane fare costs about $3,000 to come to England. And the people that are from wealthy families, they'll come, but a whole lot of people couldn't come because that's a pretty big price tag. So they had such an attendance because people could come easily to the International Center, which is, it's the heart center of this international organization. We're in 45 different countries around the world, and so learning. It's right, and I said it's sort of like spreading throughout the world. And the books, our books are written by our teacher, the founded this order, who was a Tibetan monk since he was 8, and he's written many books. So we have many of those books. Oh, and I wanted to just tell you, in case you were interested, I myself don't do this kind of thing. Of course, the little card is eluding me, but you can get on as a free download, a gift from the author, whose picture is above me, both How to Transform Your Life, which is a wonderful book, or Modern Buddhism. Those are both available for free downloads, and you could find information on that at tarpa.com, THARPA.com. So I myself will probably never do a free download. Too complicated. I just barely work this thing. I need help from Chris. But there are a lot of people more technically savvy than me. I didn't use a computer until I was 55. you know, so that was a while ago by now. So I figure I have some excuse, you know. It's in fact, I went all the way through my first 4 years of college, writing out all my 20-page papers, longhand, double space, then going back and correcting them, and then typing them out on a manual typewriter. That was my whole college career. And I'd have like probably 4 of those 20-page papers every quarter. So I just think, oh, it's so easy now where you can shift whole paragraphs, you know, and then you've got spell check. I always got dinged by spelling because try as hard as I could. I was just not a good speller. My mind doesn't work that way. My mind doesn't work on little tiny details. It just doesn't. So we're lucky that things are more available now than they used to be, more used than they used to be. So, okay, so let's go ahead and say, we'll actually sing our prayer. And I'm going to sing this time because apparently the live stream doesn't, or Zoom doesn't pick up background noise. So it thinks that the music coming from there is background noise. So you'll have to just put up with my singing, okay? Well, this is the liberating prayer, which is a prayer in honor of Buddha Shakyamuni, the founding Buddha, the 4th founding Buddha in our age. There'll be many more after him. So it's praise to him. And in this prayer, it says, you're the bestower of supreme inner peace. Like we really can be peaceful. We just have to learn the way. Peace is part of our innate being. You love all beings without exception. You're the source of happiness and goodness, and you lead us to the liberating path, the path that liberates us from anything that's painful in our heart, anything that's guilty, that we feel guilty about in our past, just liberating our heart. It's quite amazing, and healing our mental continuum. Let's face it, guys, it's a deal. Okay, so here we go. Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestow supreme inner peace. You who love all beings without exception are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish fulfilling joy. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar. And your mind is refuge for living. With folded hands I turn to supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind. Undo my mental confusion. Please nourish me with your grace, that I in turn may nourish all beings with a long ceasing and crown of to your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds are and my strong wish to rely on you. May all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled. I would live on wish for Okay, so now we'll begin by watching our breath, focusing on the slight sensation as the breath comes in and out of your nose at the tip, in and out of your body at the tip of your nose. Focusing on that for maybe 4 minutes. Let's see. Now that is the first part of a meditation I call the peaceful heart meditation. This was taught by Kadampa, longtime practitioner. So the second part, you drop down to your heart, the location of your root mind, and you concentrate on a feeling of peace that's beginning to arise. My teacher says, when the turbulence of distracting thoughts subsides, a deep peace, a deep sense of peace and contentment naturally rise from within. So let that sense of peace and contentment naturally rise as you focus in your heart, focusing on those qualities. And you can feel that you are being showered by blessings from the enlightened beings to teach you peace, to send you their peace. Let your heart open and relax. This is part of who we are in our deep being. for the last 5 minutes. Picture situations in your life that if you were more peaceful, they would be better. So picture yourself acting more peacefully in those situations and imagine how that would help heal those situations. Know that peace is part of your deep being. So you notice, just feel yourself doing it more and more in your daily life, expanding your deep inner qualities. So in the last 2 minutes, just feel yourself as such a peaceful being. You have it in you, in your deep being. So we let it radiate out in all sorts of beautiful ways into your environment, into the lives of people you share. So now we have a little time for discussion, questions, sharing opinions, experiences. I think this would pass the mic around, actually, because otherwise I don't think.
We could just yell.
You could, but you guys say good stuff. It's nice if you can be heard. You might want to move up a little bit. So I'm going to start off, Chris. You're always a good talker.
Prepared remarks.
No prepared remarks. You just have to do it off the cuff.
I do the Atisha with the cook.
That's a great story.
It's a great reminder because we all have cooks in our life, and
We do.
I don't know, that one just always struck me, like it keeps it there. It's a touchstone, for
Yeah.
him it was a touchstone.
Yeah,
So,
Atisha's cook.
yeah.
People often say, "Oh, so and so is my Atisha cook. Is my
Mhm.
Atisha's cook." Yeah. It's
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I've been doing a practice recently in my daily meditation, where I take a second after I've sort of settled a little bit, and I'll think of the previous day or I'll think of the meditation break, and I'll think of like somebody that I had some kind of difficulty with, either we just like annoyed me, or I felt judged by, or I judged, or whatever. And
Yeah.
I just like pause a little bit and think of the person and wish them happiness. Or wish
Nice.
them happiness.
nice. Why not?
Besides, like, I'm sure it's just good to do it because it's a really huge mood booster.
I bet.
You know?
I bet.
Like,
Just
I'm
letting
just sort
go.
of buoyant at the end, just very happy.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a nice practice.
yeah. It's the
Yeah.
keeper.
Learning how to expand our hearts and how to love more and be more compassionate. It's just part of the path. It's just a big part of the path. Yeah.
I've been fortunate. I've been able to think of somebody every day.
You are lucky, Tim. That's good. We all are learning. We're all learning. Can you hear? Can you hear? me?
Yes, hi. Yes.
Oh, good.
My name is Damien, by the way.
Damien, great name. Yeah.
I really, what stuck out was Atisha's cook. And
Yeah.
I have, and it's, I manage a restaurant, and
Oh.
I have several Atisha cooks.
Totally. It's an intense business. Yeah.
It is, and it's something that I could see, the differences of when I have that patience and when I don't have as much.
Yeah.
But then when reflecting back and how much more I actually learn with people that that test that patience.
Yeah. It's true.
There's more things for me to learn. Like I think you mentioned something about if you didn't have any, if it was all sunshines and rainbows, how much would you learn compared to having a cook, a Atisha's cook?
Yeah.
And I think I need to really be grateful to have those experiences, and to learn those lessons and hopefully grow within, with those tests and trials. But
They push us. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I, I do better than others, and that's all I.
You mean you're human? No.
Yeah.
No.
I forget that sometimes.
We're human.
Right. We have to be
Yes.
compassionate on ourselves. Compassion on ourselves, compassion on each other, because we are all human, and it's hard for us being in this world. Particularly now, it's a little harder than usual, quite a bit harder than usual.
The other thing is too, like when we lose our patience or we get angry with somebody, it hasn't benefited anybody. It doesn't
It's true.
benefit you. It's almost, you know, or if somebody does something hurtful towards us and we get up and we're angry about it or whatever, it just, I hate to use the term like they won, but they did. Like you now allowed them to dictate how your day is going to be.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you know, if somebody cuts you off or something like that, you are now allowing that. You, my wife always, she's the accidental Buddhist, just always like never, you know, from the time she was little, she had this thing. She's like, never let somebody else hold their happiness in your hand. Like you can determine your happiness.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
You know?
And she came from a very big family, didn't she?
Yeah, big Catholic family, but she really is like, if you meet her, isn't she kind of like an accidental Buddhist?
Yeah,
She just had like,
absolutely.
she just
Cool.
had a choice to make as a child that she was going to choose, you know, happiness given her surroundings and upbringing.
Nice.
And you know, and it's just a good reminder that that we do hold our happiness, and that if we're letting those other things distract us, it's taking away from what we can choose our inner nature to be.
Yeah, it's like choice.
Yeah.
We really can choose what we want to feel, what we want to think. It's just without being repressive, but just learning to guide ourselves.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's an interesting thing when you're saying and mentioning handling things with peace or being peaceful.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Maybe a mic is good.
That's helpful. Is that my initial response was like, I'm not a person. I'm not typically a yeller. I'm not just.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, and I'm not much of a snapper either. And so my initial thought was, yeah, but sometimes I am peaceful, and then I was, oh wait, no, that's the external thing. It's the handling things with internal peace. Like I have peace with something versus how because I tend to internalize these things.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's what's a phrase I've heard, a spiritual bypass. I've heard this phrase where it's like, you know, something is not appropriate to do. You know, like an enlightened person wouldn't yell at somebody if something goes wrong. So I know I don't yell at somebody. I'll totally internalize it. It's gonna happen in my head, but I know I don't express that except. So it's, oh yeah, the peace, being internally peaceful, right? Okay, that's right. It's not just acting appropriately; it's having the wherewithal mentally.
Yeah, if you're holding the hate inside and you haven't expressed it, you haven't come out.
Yeah,
it's like
that's true.
It's better than inflicting it on somebody. But not that much.
Yeah. Well, what's neat too is like once we're really peaceful inside, that really comes out.
Right.
You know, and all sorts of little tiny things.
Externally, it's organic instead of,
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, I should do announcements so that, thank you, dear.
I just boy, my arm's tired.
Okay, so let's take a moment and dedicate our energy. By coming here today to study Buddhism, to practice our meditation together, we created a lot of merit or positive energy, which helps our positive karma to ripen. So let's dedicate that all to being patient, to being loving, to being compassionate in our life. So quietly dedicate to that end. Okay, so upcoming things. Our empowerment is May 1st, Saturday, May 1st, pretty much all day with different sections. The actual empowerment is 10 to 12, and then we'll have commentary on it, and then a practice of the Vajrasattva practice, and then it'll end with a ceremonial prayers, which is nice. You see the shrine up here is we do po once a month. So if you have somebody that you know has died, please call your name and call that name into the center, and we'll add that to our list. That's not live streamed right now because it varies a lot when it happens. So that's it. Just a reminder too. It's like I'm called to maybe be selected for jury duty on March 29th. So on March 30th, that's a Tuesday, 2 weeks from now, I might or might not be here depending on where they selected me. So call the night before or the morning of, just to see if Tuesday morning a class is happening. Most of the other classes are okay. Okay, so let me see. Hang on just a minute. I know I'm forgetting something. I knew I was forgetting something. But we have a community meeting on Saturday, March 27th at 1, and that'll be where we'll get a very short report from the board. I said, make this short, okay? So a short report as to how the community is doing, and then we'll have a nice, it's about a 20-minute video, I think, maybe a little longer, of the International Center, where they bought an old Richmond's house. It had been empty for 5 years. The rainwater backed into the timbers. Every single timber in the whole place, this whole giant place, had dry rot. So it's a story of how they bought it on a gamble, just a gamble, and replaced all the timbers working overhead. Every single timber in the place replaced, and the whole giant building was replaced. And then the paintings on the ceilings, like in the fancy old houses in England. So we'll have that, and then like a little short thing on how it helps the community if you're an official member. Okay. So it's fairly painless. It's just filling out a form and paying a small fee. And then, so that's the community meeting. Well, this Friday, there will be a free public talk on gaining greater happiness in your life by one of our senior practitioners, 15-year practitioner, Linda Coble. So that'll be 4:30 to 5:30. So it'll be after work, before you get into Friday night activities. So if you want to just invite somebody, that'll be live streamed. Okay, so that'll be this Friday at 4:30 to 5:30. Okay, I think that's all that there is coming up immediately. So keep posted that, and of course, our website that has everything on it. Okay, so thank you all for coming.